Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, you are very welcome here. My name is Nosa. I make motherhood and lifestyle videos. If you love content like this, then of course feel free to subscribe. So in today's video, I want to explain to you guys the differences between a regular and an irregular cycle. I talked about this briefly in my last video, but I feel like there's more I want to say because there was a time in my adult life where I thought I had an irregular cycle. Because of all the signs and symptoms I kept seeing in my body, I was very convinced that I had an irregular cycle, and I had that belief for a long time until I talked to a professional. Today I'm going to be explaining to you guys the differences between a regular and an irregular cycle, and I hope you guys find this video helpful. And if you're new here, do not forget to subscribe. It will mean a lot to me. I am making this video based on my personal experience as a woman who is still learning about her body every day. I am not a doctor, I am not a fertility expert, I am not a scientist. So if you have any medical condition or like professional questions that you want to ask, that you need help with, then I advise that you seek professional help. See a doctor, okay? All right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about what a regular and an irregular cycle is. So a regular cycle simply means when the length of your cycle is about the same length every month. I know that may sound confusing. I have a board over there, so we're going to go there in a moment. And for a regular cycle, what it simply means is when the length of your cycle keeps changing every month. When it goes from 25 to 40, comes back to 20, goes to 32, that is an irregular cycle. So let's go over to the board. So according to science, every woman has a different cycle length. Our cycle length varies, but there's usually an average of 28 days. If you Google anything about, your menstrual cycle, your cycle length, you will always see 28 days because that is the average number. So I'm going to write it up here. 28-day cycle length. A lot of women have a 28-day cycle length. It is an average number. All right, let's talk about a regular cycle. So look at these numbers here. I have 21 to 35. 21 to 35. 21-day cycle length to a 35-day cycle length. Now, according to science, if your cycle length falls within this number, then you have a normal cycle length. You have a normal cycle length, okay? If it's 21 days, if it's 27 days, if it's 35 days, if your cycle length falls within this number, then you have a normal cycle length. And if you don't know how to calculate your cycle length, then you want to watch this video. We already talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Go watch it and learn how to calculate your cycle length. It's very easy. So now that you know you have a normal cycle length, how do you know it is regular? So let's explain that. So let's say you have a 26-day cycle length, okay? That means you're expecting your period to come after every 26 days. Now look at this. Let's say in the month of January, you had your normal 26-day cycle. In the month of February, you had a 30-day cycle length. In the month of March, you had a 27-day cycle length. In April, you had a 28-day cycle. The next one is May. In the month of May, you went back to 26. And then in June, you had 29. And then July, you had 27, okay? Now look at all these numbers. You have 26, you have 30, you have 27, you have 28, you have 26, you have 29, you have 27. These numbers do not look alike. But guess what? According to science, this number, everything here is considered a regular and a normal cycle length. This was what I was experiencing a couple of years ago when I thought I had an irregular cycle because the numbers kept changing. In January, I will have 28 days. February, I will have 26. March, I will have 25. Science is saying that everything in this box is considered as regular and normal. What you have is called cycle length variation. Cycle length variation, that is what this is. The numbers are not exactly the same, but they still fall under 21 to 35. But if you have anything that goes beyond this, if you had, let's say you have a 26-day cycle, okay? You have a 26-day cycle. in January, and then by February you had you jump from 26 to 45. You jump from 26 to 45, then that is a problem, okay? That is a problem. But if you have 26 in January and then by February you have 30, I mean, this is just a few days, you know, a few days difference. That is considered as normal and regular. Okay, another thing that's very important to note when we talk about a regular cycle is how consistent is your period, your menstruation and your ovulation. How often does it come? You want to make sure, or you want to pay attention to note that it came every time you expected it to come. So in January you had your period and you ovulated. In February the same thing. In March, April, May, June. You can't skip months. If you skip any month, like if your period does not come in a particular month, sometimes that can happen, okay, due to stress or maybe a medication or maybe you were sick. That can happen, but maybe just once in a year. You can't have a situation where you had your period in January and then by February and March you don't see it again and then it comes back in April. That is not normal, okay? So the consistency, how often it comes, and the length variation is very, very important. I feel like I should write it out here. Consistency and length variation. So these are the two things that we are interested in when we talk about a regular cycle. Does your period come every month, every time you expect it to come? And like I said, even if you miss your period in a month and you're not pregnant, but after that month or after that cycle, the next cycle, your period comes right back, okay? And the other one is the length variation. The days in between. If your period is delayed by 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, then that is absolutely normal. If your period comes way too early, like 2-3 days before the day you're expecting it, then that is very normal. But if your cycle length jumps from 26 days to like 50 days, you know, ridiculous number, ridiculous time in between, then that is a problem, okay? So this is what we mean by a regular cycle. This is what science calls a regular cycle. So let's go on to talk about an irregular cycle. I don't have an irregular cycle, but I'm going to try to explain it to you to the best of my ability with all the informations, you know, that are out there. So according to science, an irregular cycle means when the length of your cycle keeps changing from month to month to month, according to these numbers that you guys can see here. And what that means is that you can have very short cycle length or very long cycle length, okay? You can have like a 15-day cycle length. That is really short. Or you can have 74-day cycle length. Oh my God, that is really long. So look at these numbers: 25, 40, 61, 22, 59, 27, 19, 74, 33. Okay? These numbers do not look alike in any way. So let's say this person has a 25-day cycle length. Okay? So if you have a 25-day cycle, your next period or your next menstruation should come after 25 days. Even if it comes late, it should be like a few days late, okay? Like we just talked about in a regular cycle. But if the length of your period keeps changing, it goes from 25 and then to 40 to 61, and then the next time it goes down to 22, and then the next one comes in after 59 days, and then the next one comes after 74. Like the numbers just keep changing. You can't track when your period is coming. You may think that my period is not coming until next week, but guess what? You wake up the next day and you're already bleeding, and you're like, huh, what is this? Is this my period? Like, what is going on here? Or maybe you think your period is coming tomorrow, and guess what? Your period does not show up until after like 74 days, and you're like, wow. So a woman that has an irregular cycle length can miss her period for like 1, 2, or even 3 months, and she is not pregnant. Another one is, according to science, when you have an irregular cycle, you can experience abnormal bleeding. They bleed in between periods. So you have, let's say you have a 25-day cycle. So you're expecting your next period to come after another 25 days. But guess what? In between that time, in between that period, you start bleeding and you're not on your period, but you just start bleeding. It can be heavy bleeding, it can be a light bleeding, it can happen for a short period of time, maybe 2 days, 3 days. It can also happen for a long period of time, maybe 7 days, 10 days. And that is not your period. It's just some random bleeding happening in your body. That is not normal. That is abnormal. That is irregular. And in that situation, you definitely want to see a fertility expert or a doctor. I think it can be treated and your cycle can become regular. So I'm going to share some things that can affect your menstrual cycle, what can cause your menstrual cycle to just keep changing back and forth, whether for a regular or an irregular cycle. I'm going to sit down and talk to you guys about that in my next video. But for today, I'm going to stop right here. I hope I have been able to clear your confusion. If you always thought you had an irregular cycle and you just realized that you did not, then let me know in the comment section, okay? And give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Share this video to all your girlfriends. I'm sure they would appreciate it. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would mean so much to me. Thank you guys for always being here, and I will see you guys in my next one.